Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Well, a bird, bird. The bird.
YouTube, what is going on? It is Gino Bonino here. I want to welcome you guys to my channel and to this video. Real quick, guys, I hope everybody had a wonderful vacation over their 3-day weekend. Had a good Memorial Day. Hope everyone stayed safe. Usually in the last few videos I've been in front of the camera. However, today I'm going to be comic book heavy, so I'm intentionally staying back. I want no distractions. I want the comic books to do the talking. And I also want there to be a little bit more of a close-up so you guys can look for these books yourself out in the wild. Just to put kind of in perspective what happened today, I was driving around, enjoying the day, decided just for the heck of it to stop by my LCS. And I was going to actually see if I could pick up a couple more copies of Miles Morales Spider-Man #6 with the Starling first appearance, and also see if I could get a 5 with the first cameo, and see if I could get War Realms Agent of Atlas #2, a book that has definitely picked up some heat, and I wanted to get a couple more copies of that to stick in my boxes. Make a long story short, they were sold out of both of those titles, and actually including 5. I was a little bit bummed, much to my chagrin. Was going to leave, but then looked on the marquee and I saw that they were having a sale, Memorial Day sale. Anything in the back bins, anything up on the wall was half off. So decided, hey, now would be as good a time as any to do a little bit of digging. I know they had this huge long box full of Spawn books, and I'm trying to see if I can pick up the entire Spawn run, mainly because I started watching once again the HBO series. I found it on YouTube, and I've been watching it for a second time. I know I watched it when it first came out on HBO. It's really a good series. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's definitely graphic, so don't watch it with grandma or anybody that would get a little bit freaked out about such things. It's got violence, it's got plenty of adult language, and it definitely has nudity and toplessness and all that kind of stuff. So again, I'm just letting you know in advance. Nothing that you would want to watch with somebody that would get easily offended, because it's meant to offend. But it's good. It's a good series. They flesh out the characters real well. It's very dark, very gritty, and again, one of those, in my opinion, probably one of the best comic series that's not DC related, as far as like the Batman and stuff like that. It's a very good series. Can find it, like I mentioned, on YouTube. You can get it on video. Old HBO showings and stuff like that, and it still has definitely its cult following. I'm hoping the movie kind of follows the line, the new movie follows the line of that. I know the first movie that came out, unfortunately, talked about this a few times, mainly due to the fact that they were limited by special effects and budget and whatnot, wasn't really up to snuff. And but when the cartoon series came, I think it let people know what the series could be. And it was really, really good. So watching it again, and decided that now would be a good as time any to see if I can get my Spawn runs, some holes plugged up in my Spawn run. So went to the LCS, sat down on the floor, pulled out the long box, and this is one of those times where I don't have a lot of this information memorized. So decided to go with my buddy Nick at Key Collector app, and opened up my Spawn, and sure enough, he showed, I know he had an article on there not too long ago, but he was also showing, it also shows print runs of some things, like Spawn, for example, because that is a book that's notoriously known for being low print, and is starting to kind of pick up a little bit of heat, just simply because the book is so printed. You know, there's a lot of them that are very low print books. I know the print run on a lot of these are like in the $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, 14,000 issue range, which is right up there with like Naomi and Immortal Hulk and stuff like that. So it's, and you got to figure, of those 14,000, you've got, it's been years, so you've got some of those copies that have been trashed or thrown out, or got damaged in shipping and all that kind of stuff. So for certain, you know, you've got a lot of these books that are in the low print run. When you think about the first copy of Swan was over 1 million copies. So when you put that in perspective, you can see that again, it's definitely a book that's worth getting. And there's a movie coming out, so there's a lot that this series has going for it. It's also obviously written by and drawn by Todd McFarlane. The 300th issue is coming out shortly in just a couple months with a new character. And again, this is something that has definitely kind of flown underneath the radar. I don't think for too much longer. So if you can find these books in your LCS or in a garage sale, or you know a buddy that's getting rid of them, my recommendation just from a collector's point of view would be now is a good time to buy if you can get them for a good price. Don't go pay the crazy price on eBay for it. That's silly unless you really feel it's necessary and have money to burn, so be it. But you know, again, these are books you can find, you know, fairly reasonable. Just to put it in perspective, and again, I don't like tub thumping and stuff like that, but the sale at the LCS today, everything was 50% off, and most of these books were $3. So you take that, divide it by half, it'll let you know what I paid. I paid about $1.50 for each book that you're about to see, and some of these are sweet books for just based completely on the print run. Started out with issue 33. Nothing really super big, and this is a key book. I think it's a first appearance, and I forget who it is, but I've got a few of these. You'll find, I think this issue was actually published rather heavy, just because I've seen it in every collection. We were still in the kind of the honeymoon phase of Spawn. Spawn was still selling and publishing a bunch of copies. So I think up to about 50 you'll probably find them plentiful. However, after that, especially when you start getting into the 180s, and I don't know exactly where the cutoff is, but I do know there's a cutoff where things start getting really, really low print. I also picked up 65, which if you look closely, you'll see that is a movie cell. So this must have come out, I bet, right while the movie was getting made or had just hit the theaters or whatever. A little out of order, I apologize. Issue 49. Again, nothing really major about it other than the just super cool cover art. And I don't have this, so I wanted to fill it up in my run. 158, same thing. Nothing super hardcore interesting about it, other than the fact that it's got a cool cover, and I didn't have it, so I decided to pick it up. This is the first one that Nick has listed as a low print run. Now, I assume what he means by low is somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 or less. I didn't get the data on this one. He doesn't have the data listed, but this is definitely one, if you see, pick it up because it is a low print book. This is 166. This is 172. Nothing really major about this other than it being, again, a cool cover. I do know it could be a key, but it's, as far as the print run, nothing that comes jumping out. 173. 177. 201. And as I mentioned, I picked these all up today. 205. 207. Now we start getting into my first book that I got that has the print run listed. This is 14,000 and change, 14,796 on this particular issue. 207. 208 is 14,468 copies. 209 was the next one I picked up. Now we got 13,000. We're down to 13,900 and change. 212, 13,489. 213, 13,369 books. Obviously that came out in 2011. 214, this is 13,000 and change. Issue 214. Issue 218, 12,680. Now 12,000, you're in the Naomi range, second, third issue of Immortal Hulk. So again, not very many. If you think about it, it's not hard to figure you're going to have 12,000 or 13,000 collectors. Chances are, if the Spawn movie does well, you're looking at more like 50,000. Then you've got 50,000 people looking for, let's call it 12,000 books. And you kind of get the idea of the supply and demand. So again, that's kind of why these books are good to get now, because you can still get them now rather cheap. 235, this is a 15,000 print book, 15,038. 236 is 13,368. 238, this is the first appearance of Dead Zone, which is kind of like a purgatory, I guess you could call it. 12,400 and change in this book. 239, 12,369. 241, this is a good book to find. If you see this out in the wild, definitely get this one. 11,766. This is the second lowest print run of any book in the Spawn series. The first one I think is 245, I want to say. Not sure. Don't cement me to that. But this is 241. Again, 11,000 and change. So this is a good book to pick up. Orange graphics along with the angel wings. Again, if you see it, get it. You will not regret that. 246, this is a print run of 13,343 copies. There's a few different versions of this. This is the colored copy. I think there's also black and white. 247 with a print run of 12,029. 248, another low print. This is 11,934, so less than even 12,000 copies. 254, now we start getting a little bit higher. This is, we're in the 15,000s. This is 15,000 and change. I will call it 15,400, I think. 255, 15,700. 256, 15,087. 257 is 15,246. And again, all these are great books to get your hands on, guys. If you see them, get them. You will not regret it. I promise you that. A lot of times you'll see these, they'll pop up on eBay. If the seller knows what he's selling, a lot of times these goes for triple digits, just simply because of the low print run. There's a lot of people out there looking for Spawn books. What I've noticed is Spawn sort of has an ebb and flow. It'll be real hot for a couple weeks, and then it'll die down, and something else kind of takes its place as far as hotness, and then all of a sudden it'll pop back up again with something gets mentioned about a movie, or if Todd McFarlane starts chattering about a movie and stuff like that. So again, it tends to kind of definitely have an ebb and flow. When the interest is high is when it's the best time to list these books, just because that's kind of when people are looking to fill print runs. But then when it kind of hits that lull, that's the great time to go find them, because that's when the price is usually quite reasonable and you can get them for, you know, next to nothing. Issue 260, let's see, is there nothing really remarkable on the print run on that, but I just didn't have it. I wanted to pick it up. 261. 262, 264, and once again, as you can see, these were $3 books, half price, so they were $1.50. And the last one that I got today was 271, excuse me. 271 is a print run of 15,500. So quite low. And there's a couple other books to show. Nothing that excites me quite as much as the Spawn books, but again, still picked them up and decided I might as well show since I've got the camera running. I did pick up a couple of these in the dollar bin. This is Totally Awesome Hulk, #1. Mainly kind of an interest because of the what's going on with Agents of Atlas, #1, and what happens with the Hulk and all that. Vision, love this series. I see it quite often get talked about. Actually, let's put it in order, shall we? They didn't have #1, so I got #2, #3, #4, 5, and what I just got done showing, #6. And just because they had it at a decent price, I picked up another copy of Spider-Man 362. I think I've got quite a few of these with the Mark Bagley art. I think first time that you have Venom and Carnage on cover together, if that would make sense, because 361 obviously was when the first Carnage, and I know that it's just him and Spidey on the cover of that. So this must be the first appearance of Venom and Carnage on the cover. Other than that, it was actually produced fairly heavy. I think primarily because once the word got out that 361 did well and went into a second printing, word got out that there was a new character that was Venom related, and I think people went a little bit nuts. I know 362 still a little bit less, simply because it caught people semi off guard. But 363, forget about it. By then, there was tons and tons of them. So you'll see a bunch of 363. The price is reflected that it's, you can get them for next to nothing. And that is my haul for the day, guys. Again, the lesson that I'm trying to convey is, if you see the Spawn books from that section of time where the print run was really low, and I think, I don't quote me on this, but I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like the 150s or so, might be even the 200s. I know there's plenty of articles about it, and I should have this memorized, but I don't. I'll probably put it in the graphics, but any spawns you see from that time are good holds if you can get them for a good price and they're in decent shape, just because, again, those books are classic books, low printed, and something that Spawn has its underground, very vocal fan base. They'll constantly and always be a fan base for it, and I do think you'll do very well by picking those books up. So if nothing else, get them, stick them in your collection, read them, forget about them, do whatever you want, and I guarantee you the dividends will be paid when down the road, when the Spawn movie starts making some noise. So that is it, guys. Thanks for watching. I am Gino Bonino, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.